Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki was in the studio, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he said, Brian, poor people work for money and rich people make money work for them. And you know that from the real estate game and the crypto game. And it's well said. You're right. If you just have a job, it's probably not the way you're going to become wealthy. It's going to be done on the back of probably investment in assets.
Right. Yeah. Like I get emails all the time. Like I had a guy a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Hey, I'm a plastic facial surgeon, and I'm just getting into crypto and digital assets. I like your channel, and I just want to see if you have any advice for me." First of all, I can't give anybody advice. I'm not a financial advisor. However, I tell the same thing that I tell you. I think this is one of those good times to start to dollar cost average and get into it. Learn about it, and this is why you have your DeFi Academy. This is why I have my free 100% free website, danteachescrypto.com, just to come in there and learn about the different crypto, the projects, how to do your own research, so you don't even have to rely on people like me. You can go out there and go, okay, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for to see how big is the community? What is the utility? What does that actually do? Take a look at the tokenomics. Am I going to get dumped on? And how much is the actual circulating supply? And also take a look at the team. What have they done before to potentially what they could do in the future? And these are just some of the basic things to look at, because it's a new industry. It's not like valuating stocks and saying, well, let's just take a look at the PE ratio. Let's take a look at 12 months back, or what the earnings report says. It's not as simplified as that. There's a lot of nuances to this, and there's a lot of education that needs to be done.
And that's your CUTT system: community, utility, technology, tokenomics, your CUTT?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so when I first got in, I just thought, well, whatever I hear about on YouTube and Twitter and the Twitterverse, maybe that'll be a good project. I didn't do it too much education. And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat right now today, because unfortunately, this is going to be unpopular. There's a lot of people out there that are just pumping and dumping stuff, and they're just worthless. They're just worthless cryptos. I'll be honest with you. There's like 19,000 crypto digital assets, and they're all going to be, the majority are going to go away because they don't really have any utility. So what I took a look at is, as these new projects come into formation, there's a system that I took a look at and said, well, how can I evaluate this? Because I can't do, again, like the PE ratio. I can't take a look at the spreadsheets. I can't take a look at the SEC filings, because there are no filings. There are nothing like that. But what I can take a look at is as these projects come into the cryptoverse, let's take a look at the community. How big is it? And in the old days, in the boom of 2017 ICOs, when that was just the biggest pump and dump of all time, there was no community. All they would do was reach out to people to shill all the different projects. And then people like me would watch those videos and go, oh, that looks pretty good. And then we would get dumped on. And that was one of the reasons why I started the channel, because that just cannot go on. That's a recipe for disaster. So what I take a look at is the community now. And like one of the projects we took a look at, and I haven't done this many, we've only done 4 on our channel, on our second channel. One of those was Genso Kishi. And that was a project that had already been a free-to-play game. It was called Elemental Knights, and it already had millions of players. This is in mostly Asian countries. It was on PlayStation, it was on Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android. So I already had millions of community members who were going, wow, this is pretty fun to play for free. Now you're going to go for play to earn, and I'll just switch over to that because I like making money. I like this game. So then we took a look at the utility. What does this token do? Well, in this metaverse, in this game, would actually drive the whole ecosystem. Then we took a look at the team. Well, they had already been building on all these different platforms. So it was like a no-brainer. And the tokenomics, we took a look at what was the cliff, when are the unlock schedules, and what was the max supply. So am I going to get dumped on? And that was in December. And it started out at like a penny, and it went up to $1.45. Now, because of this bear market, we're down to around 40 cents, but it is still one of my best performing players on my portfolio. And then we just moved down the line, and now we're on our 4th one, where we're talking about Sweatcoin, which we did a deep dive on that, but that won't be out until the weekend.
Until the weekend. Nice. All right. So the CUTT system seems to do you pretty well for kind of giving a deep dive, but not too deep, to evaluating different protocols and coins and giving you a kind of a good initial reaction.
Right. But I have to make a distinction. And that is just for projects that are really coming out and are new. So let's fast forward. Let's take a look at a project like Celsius. With Celsius, which just pretty much collapsed, they had stopped all the withdrawals, and you had over $8 or $10 billion in assets under management in that platform. It was a lending platform. And if you took a look at the CUTT, you'd say, well, how does that compare? The thing is, with the CUTT system, that's only for the introduction of these new projects. Existing projects, it's pretty much out the window. You have to be on top, just like, well, you know, Brian, just like you have to be on top of all of your investments at all times. You have to get all the news, all the information that you want to do, because if you leave it up to happenstance and just say, well, I think it's going to do well, and I'll just kind of forget it, you know, set it and forget it, like the food dehydrator, you're going to be in a world of hurt. And that's exactly what happened with Celsius. As time went on, you could see that there was some issues. There was some illiquidity, insolvency. And of course, they also had issues with Three Arrows Capital and the lending platform. And then even going down to Luna and UST. There's a lot of different theories about it. And from what I can understand is that they didn't invest per se into the Terra ecosystem, the Luna coin, or into UST. But there was again, this is all hearsay. There was a lot of different organizations, institutions who wanted to do like a bailout. And they asked, Celsius was one of them. And they said, no, we're not going to do that because it's more important for our community to be taken care of first. And that was a chain reaction, which I don't want to get into because I don't want to get sued. So we'll just go down that way. But if you take a look at the CUTT system for them, their community is huge. They have over 1 million different people. The utility for the token itself, when you actually invest into it and put on the platform, the higher the amount of Celsius you had, the more the rewards that you would get back for the different cryptos that you would actually put on there, which they, of course, rehypothecated. And unfortunately, I think there was some issues with some fractional lending, which I think is one of the issues. But the utility was there. The team was stellar. You had Alex Mashinsky. He was not solely, but at least partially responsible for voice over internet protocol. He had 3 companies with $1 billion exits. And then the tokenomics were pretty good. However, that's just for the beginning. Moving forward, to take a look at it, well, what was going on behind the scenes? And these are the things that you really can only get just by the news that comes out. And you can take a look at an on-chain analysis to see just exactly where these wallets are and what's actually happening as far as who is selling. And that's a whole different other video.